So they get the kids to memorize all these words. And to kind of get into the mechanics of how this works, right? When you're memorizing a whole word, what they're doing is they're teaching children to see these words as if the word itself is a symbol. Of course, the word is not a symbol. The word is a collection of symbols that has to be deciphered by sounding it out. But when you teach the child to approach the word as if it were a symbol in and of itself, they'll be okay if they can memorize a few hundred. They'll be okay with the very basic books like see, spot, run, spot, run, because you've memorized run, you've memorized spot, and you've memorized see. But what happens when you get to a word that you haven't memorized? Well, as you look at these reading tools, they say, well, now you have to use your word attack skills. You got to look for context clues, look if there's any pictures on the page, see what the word before and after. This is preposterous, right? So this is a deliberate agenda, and I think the simplest way to understand the true agenda, Garrett, is to go back to the first education law ever passed in North America. This was 1640s, the Old Deluder Satan Act. The Pilgrims said it's so critical that everyone can read, because that old deluder Satan wants to keep them from knowledge of the scriptures, that we're going to make sure every person in this colony can read. Now, it was a Bible colony, right? There was no separation of church and state, and so they said, your town and your church need to make sure everybody can read, and so that's the genesis of universal literacy in America. I think it can be easily demonstrated that John Dewey understood that literacy was the key to, first of all, biblical understanding, second of all, independence and freedom. If you can't educate yourself, you are a helpless person.